We're still in 6.5. We're solving compound inequalities. Now, compound inequalities are when we have more than one inequality sign. So we have one expression, two expressions, three expressions. And it's exactly the same when we solve. That's not exactly the same, but it's almost exactly the same solving compound inequalities as it is the regular inequalities that we just did. So let's look at some examples here. Okay, so let's look at number 3 first. Let me just write it out. Okay, so what I do is I just take one of these inequalities and I cover it up. I pretend it's not compound. I say, okay, x wants to be alone. I have to get rid of the best friend and the neighbor. Who do I get rid of first? The neighbor. Minus 3, and then I go, oh, I have to do it to this one as well. Okay, so that's gone. So I have 6 minus 3 is 3. I just have a 2x remaining. And I lose 3 and I lose 2, I lose 5. Now I cover it up again. X wants to be alone. Do I get rid of the 3 or the 2? X wants to be alone. Yeah, I get rid of the 2. I go divide by 2, divide by 2. Oops, I also have to do divide by 2 here. So it's the same, it just is a little bit more work. Same over same is 1. Oops, that's not, it's just less than. So half of 3 is 1.5. Half of 5 is negative 2.5. Okay, so whatever I do to these, I also have to do to this one. And that's the only difference. So 1 can hide, so it's just... So now I have to go from the letter, the variable, to the number, the variable to the number. So here x is bigger than or equal to negative 2.5. So negative 2.5 is about here, and I want to go bigger. And then reading this way, letter to the number, x is smaller than 1.5. Okay, but wait. This says bigger than or equal to. That means I have to close the circle because I want it. Now this says x is less than 1.5. I don't want 1.5, so I keep it open. So it has to be bigger than negative 1.5 or 2.5 and smaller than 1.5. So let's make that. Let's do the interval notation. I don't want 1.5, so I do a round bracket, and I want negative 2.5, so I do a square bracket. Okay, let's look at number 4. So I just cover up one of them, and I go, okay, x wants to be alone. How do I get rid of, I have to, oh, there's only one thing there, so I have to get rid of the 4. Opposite. So, oh, but I also have to do it to this one. Okay, so that's a 7. So let's read it. Letter to the number, letter to the number. X is bigger than 7. X is bigger than 7. And here, x is less than 10. Less than or equal to 10. So if it's less than or equal to 10, that means I have to color in the 10 because I want the 10. So I do a closed circle, but I do an open circle here because I don't want the 7. So 7 to 10, I want the 10, so I do a square bracket. I don't want the 7, so I do a round bracket. Let's do question 1. Okay, what's the only number that can hide? 1, let's put it in. Let's cover all that. X wants to be alone. What do I have to get rid of, the 1 or the 6? Yeah, let's get rid of the 1. Same over same is 1. Oh, but I also have to do it to that one. Okay, so that's negative 1. Wait a minute. I just divided by a negative number. What do I have to do? Yeah, I have to flip. So this was this way. Let's erase it. It's gotta go that way. This one was that way, so now it has to go the other way. There. So that's, one can hide, so it's just, so let's read it. Letter to number, letter to number. X is smaller than or equal to -1. -1, smaller than or equal to, so I have to close the circle. Now this says X is bigger than 6. Does it want to be equal to 6? No, there's no equal to 6, so I keep it open. So because we have two separate groups, my intervals, I'm going to have two separate intervals. Negative to, oops, I forgot my infinity. Negative infinity to -1. I want the 1, so I square bracket. Infinity's always round. I use a U for union. 6 to infinity. Infinity's always round. I don't want the 6, so it's round. Okay. Let's do the, let's leave that one. Let's do number 9. Okay, so I see a fraction, but I know 10 over 10 is equal to 1. I have the bottom. I just have to put the top on. So let's write it out again so I have some space. Okay, so if I just extend this here and put it like a little times 10, now I have the top and the bottom of the fraction, which makes equal 1. So same over same is 1, but I have to multiply that by 10 and that by 10. This times 10 is 3. I'm left with this, and that's 5. Now if there's nothing behind the bracket and nothing in front of it, I can just erase it. And I put brackets here because it's 10 times all of that, so I have to put brackets there. So now x wants to be alone. Let's get rid of that. X wants to be alone, so I have to get rid of this 2. So -2, -2, and -2. So 3 minus 2 is 1. So let's read that. Letter to the number, letter to the number. X has to be bigger than or equal to 1. There's 1. I have to go bigger. Or equal to. Equal to means I color it in, I make it closed. Now I find 3. X is smaller than or equal to 3. Ooh. And it's equal to, so I have to close it. So anything here. Oh my, that's a small interval. So between 1 and 3, equal to, closed, I want the 3. Equal to, closed, I want the 1. So we have to do square brackets for that. Okay, let's just do one more question here. Let's do 7. Oops. Okay, so cover up that. X wants to be alone, so the best friend is 3, the neighbor's 4. Who do you get rid of first? Yeah, the 4, the neighbor. So opposite, +4, -4, -4, and -4. So I lose 11 and I lose 4. Oh, I lost 15. I have 1, but I lose 4. That means now I lost 3. Cover that back up. So X wants to be alone. Do I get rid of the +3 or the -3? Yeah, X wants to be alone, so I have to get rid of this one. So same over same is 1. So that makes a 1. Oh, but I also have to do it to here. So that's going to be -5. Okay, let's read it. Always the letter to the number, letter to the number. X has to be bigger than or equal to -5. Bigger than -5. Bigger. Or equal to. Equal to means yes, we can have the -5, so make it closed, color it in. -1. X has to be smaller than -1. But it can be equal to -1. So X has to be smaller than or equal to -1, so close it. So it's this. So negative 5 to negative 1. I want the negative 1, so I put a square bracket. I want the negative 5, so I put a square bracket. Okay?